This is the round that decides it all between myself and Pat over from Off the Rails TCG in the Clash Bash Season 1 Top 8 game. Let's see who takes it home as I pilot the Ira from the previous game, which you guys can check out here, into his Rhinar, which I'm very excited to see how he built that to take on my Ira. Alrighty, we go ahead and we cut up. We go ahead and we make sure to see our equipment. I'm running the same equipment as our last game, which again, you can check out up in the corner there. And our opponent is still Pat, but he's running Rhinar. He gets to play a second deck now into this one. And I'm very, very excited to see where it leads because my goodness, I believe Rhinar has a lot of legs in this format. Intimidate is a really, really powerful, especially with Show No Mercy, the new Rhinar specialization that came out in Heavy Hitters. I really do believe that there's a lot of damage potential for Rhinar, and you can really kind of make miracles happen in a way. So I go ahead and I get to make the call since I lost our last round. So I choose to go second while my opponent goes first. They are on Monstrous Veil, Heart and Crosstrap, Goliath Gauntlet, and Beaten Trackers with 2 Mandible Claws. And I am playing my Mask of Shifting Perspectives, my Breaking Scales, my Vest of the First Fist, and Snapdragon Scalers, along with both Kodachis. So we're gonna go ahead and get it off here. They are banish. They're pitching to the graveyard a blue Agile Windup, which does get him a agility token. Sorry, it gets him an agility token into his next round, which is a really, really good setup, but unfortunately, Rhinar is not KO, so there's no additional Intimidate trigger off that one. They do get a Claw. It's pretty much a pretty basic turn. They're just coming in for a Claw, looking to set up their next turn where it's more beneficial for them. I can essentially just block out this whole turn and take whatever I need. So it works out pretty well. I block that out efficiently, and then I get to go ahead and go into my turn. Now, with my opponent having an agility token, my big thing is I want to make sure they don't have cards in their hand to utilize that agility token very well. So I'm just going to go ahead and do my thing. I play Kodachi, and then you guys are not going to believe what I'm going to do next. You're truly not going to believe. Get this, right? Get this. I play a Kodachi for 2. Insane, right? This game is so crazy hard and predictable. Unpredictable, really. They block with 2 for their armor. They obviously want to keep their hand. You can see how much they want to keep their hand by blocking with armor this early in the game. And I like that because it means that I get to come in for a lot here. So this is going to go ahead and come in for 5. This is a blue flying kick. If it's the 3rd chain link or higher, it gets +2. So this is coming in for 5. They block 3, take 2. And it works out in my favor. Now we're going to see what they're up to here. With an agility token, they get to pop that, and then their first attack this turn gets go again. Very powerful. But they're also popping Goliath Gauntlet, so I'm expecting something terrifying. Then they play Barraging Beatdown. Barraging Beatdown intimidates and then gives +4 to their next brute attack. And if it's not defended by 2 non-equipment cards, it'll get +4. So the whole point here is to get a bunch of cards out of my hand so I can't block with 2 cards, and then I get hit with a bunch of Intimidates. So 3 cards in hand, 1 now being intimidated. My opponent then plays Alpha Rampage. They're discarding that 6. Now they get to go ahead and do a Intimidate for the Alpha Rampage, and then for Rhinar, banishing 2 cards from my hand, leaving me with only 1. Now, I know what you're thinking. You better hope that that's a D-React in Arsenal. It's not. The 1 card left in my hand is gotta be enough to deal a lot to block a lot of this. But because I can't block with 2 cards, I'm now going to be getting hit for a whopping 15. Pat here does end up just kind of doing the math and showing it off. It turns out to be 15. It was presenting 16, but now you see that it is 15 damage. So that's a +2 from the Goliath Gauntlet, the +4 from the Barraging Beatdown, and then the 9 that is Alpha Rampage. So 15 damage in one turn, and I only have one card to block with. Absolutely insane. I could block with armor here as well, but I'm not really terrified that much, I guess. Just because like this is a really powerful turn for them. Pat had to go take a phone call, so we went ahead and got right back into it. I've only got, again, one card in hand. I'm going to play it. It is a red Flick Flack. Luckily for me that is the one card that stayed. But I'm didn't block with anything else, so I'm just going to take 11, turn 2, and get rocked. I guess it's technically turn 3, but absolutely rocked. No, that was turn 2. Yeah, turn 2, take 11 damage. Kind of ridiculous. So now I get to continue to just do my thing, right? I hope I can present more than my opponent can. They have no blocking power on their equipment anymore, and Brutes also just run cards that don't block in general. So I'm hoping that I can just get a lot of damage off in these regards and block out efficiently in order for me to not take anything like that Alpha Rampage turn ever again. I don't want anything like that to ever happen. And I'm expecting a Barraging Beatdown, Show No Mercy, because that is just the key finisher for Rhinar at this point. So they take another 2. They're going on down to 14 life. I'm then going to pay 1 more, and I'm going to come with a Torrent of Tempo. Now, my plan here, after literally the most insane thing, after taking 11 damage, I'm now right now presenting 8 so far. And if they let this Torrent of Tempo hit, it means that it gets go again. And I have a pretty nice surprise in my arsenal, which is a Surging Strike red. Now the goal here is to attack with Torrent of Tempo, and if it is blocked out, I'm then going to play my Snapdragon Scalers to give it go again and play the card in my hand. But if it isn't blocked out fully, and it does hit, I get to go Vest of the First Fist into Surging Strike for free, and then I get to play the card from my hand, presenting a lot of damage. And I'll show you why it's a lot of damage as soon as we get blocks here from Pat. It's an insanely powerful turn for being hit by, 11, but that's really the downfall of specifically the Intimidate triggers into Ninja. In most cases, Ninja doesn't want to block. I want to block, but in most cases, Ninja doesn't want to block. So me having all these cards left in my hand is really good. So they blocked that out there fully. Get a full block on the Torrent of Tempo. I'm just going to give it go again in the attack reaction step. And then I'm going to go ahead and swing in with a Fluster Fist. So this Fluster Fist is coming in for 4. I go ahead and move everything over because that glare was annoying me. So I still have that one card there. The Fluster Fist is actually what was in my arsenal. In my hand is the Surging Strike. And I don't get to utilize my vest. I still have 2 block on my armor, and I'm threatening a lot more damage now. They already blocked out with 2 cards, and a 2-card hand in Brute is normally not very playable. So, or at least not as effective as you'd like it to be. So they're just going to take 4 here so they have something to clap back at and do something, presenting that. So after taking 11, I presented right there like 12 damage. And that wasn't even all I could have presented. So very powerful turn for myself as a response to a huge Alpha Rampage turn. This is a naked Assault and Battery. They do not have a agility token off of this, but I'm going to block 7 because I don't want to take any more damage. I've already taken way too much. And again, we are just going to keep doing the thing we do. We're going to play a Kodachi. We're just going to deal a little bit here. So this time I'm going to switch it up. I know I'm going to switch it up because I know what happens now. I'm in the zone. I understand what our games are looking like now. So again, Rhinar wants to keep at least 3 cards in hand. Keeping 2 cards in hand means he's got like a Mandible Claw or like 1 powerful 7-card attack that doesn't really do it, or a 7 attack card that doesn't really do a whole lot. my next card is a head jab for 4. I have a red head jab for 4. It costs 0 to play it, and I still have 2 floating resources. You guys remember that Surging Strike that I was telling you about? Well, it might be coming, especially since my opponent is going to choose to not block here, if I recall correctly, because 4 damage, obviously, again, brutes want to keep those cards in their hand. So they take 4 down to 5, and guess what has 5 attack power? You're never going to believe this. Red Surging Strike. So now they have to block in a way, which means that they're put into a certain situation where they can no longer be as powerful of a turn as they want it to be. And you'll see, because it was a pretty powerful turn, I'd say. But they block with their Sand Sketch plans. They take 2, going down to 3. Now it's 9-3. My last 2 turns have been absolutely insane as far as damage potential went, because I'm no longer just like Kodachi into whatever. It's Kodachi into a bunch of attack actions. And a lot of those attack actions having go again, and my opponent really wanting to block. They won't worry about blocking the Kodachis, but they will worry about blocking bigger powered attacks. So they're going to play Hardened Crosstrap, and then they're going to play a Barraging Beatdown, which is going to Intimidate. They're going to Intimidate a card from there. It's going to be that first card. It's going to get intimidated. So I have 3 cards left in my hand. I'm going to leave them down there in case they have something else. They're going to play a Savage Feast, discarding a 6, which allows them to draw a card, but it also allows them to intimidate. So they'll get that card on out of there. 2 cards left in hand, which is enough to block out the Barraging Beatdown, greatly enough. They're going to then draw a card. They are destroying their Beaten Trackers to get another action point, since they did roll a dice this turn. So they get an action, or a card was discarded, a 6 was discarded at random. That's what it is, not because they rolled a dice. I'm thinking of something else. So this is 6. They have another action point, so they're going to do something else. It's probably a claw. So I'm going to go ahead and just block out there. I have no cards left in hand. Block 6 efficiently. They're going to then pop Monstrous Veil, draw, and discard. Now this would also trigger Rhinar, but I have no cards in hand. So they have nothing left for me to intimidate. I'm going to have him intimidate one out of his hand, or discard one of his hand. It's another 6. They then get to pitch that yellow into a Mandible Claw for 3, and I just comfortably take 3. There's not too much they have in regards to resources for that. They block with the blue. It's really, really good. So now I get to keep 2 cards in my hand, and they're in Kodachi lock range, which is where I want them to be. Because again, Rhinar just can't do anything with 2 cards. They can do a lot with 3, but they really can't do anything with 2. And at this point, I have to really push for a lot of this damage. So Kodachi gets to come in for 1. I have 1 card left in hand. I'm like, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do here in this situation, right? Because I could push for a little bit more damage, or I could just keep them on the fronts. Because they're going to have to block. If they don't block, they lose out on a lot here. But it does tend to happen. So they go and take 1 on this Kodachi, again, wanting to keep all the cards in their hand. I'm then thinking, do I Kodachi or do I use the card in my hand? And I believe the move is to pay the 2 to come in with Open the Center. Now, it doesn't have Dominate or Go Again or whatever, but it does have +1 from Ira, and it is a combo card, which means that if they decide to block incorrectly, I can then pop Breaking Scales to give a combo card +1 and make it more powerful. So here they block 3 with a Wrecker Romp, and then they move to reactions. As to which then, technically, I have nothing so far, right? Because obviously this still kills them. So I don't do anything. Their priority is then to take it on the chin. And my reaction is then to Breaking Scales. And it ends up killing them. So they should have blocked a little bit more there, but they didn't. And they ended up kind of getting the game taken away from it, which is unfortunate. Because Take It on the Chin is really, really, really good in this game. but I was able to push a little bit of that damage over. And Pat was even saying at the end of that game that there would have been nearly nothing for him to do in that next turn for that agility to have mattered. And being at such a low life, even if he was able to block that out entirely, being able to come in with, you know, Kadachi, ripping 2 cards again from a Brute's hand is really, really good. So the plan was just keep that up until I had more power, and they ran into cards like Wild Ride and Pulping, things like that. Because those cards, they don't block. And when cards don't block, when you have cards in your hand that don't block, you lose. That's just the game. So pretty important there, but the Rhinar match was, I mean, it was terrifying. That Alpha Rampage turn was just something else. I did not actually expect to run into such a powerful turn on turn like 2, but there it was. You know, they took a little bit of damage. They were able to come in with 15 presented, and then on my 3-card hand, I was able to present, you know, nearly 17, which is very, very rare to see that kind of power, but I think it just, everything lined up really, really well. I was very happy with the matchup. And Pat was such a fantastic opponent. I mean, I love going against people who are just like so in tune with their decks and they're really playing things that are their favorites. I built Ira kind of last minute, as you guys know from a previous episode. I had KO as my second deck in the Clash Bash, but for the top 8, I actually made an Ira deck and decided to play that instead, just because Ira has a lot of consistency, and I feel like consistency does really well in young formats, just because you're able to block out efficiently, you're able to come in with powerful attacks, and then you can close it out on really, really powerful 4 chain link wide attacks if need be, and kind of just whittle your opponent down until eventually they've got nothing left. I've been one to say, obviously we'll see as the games go on, until as I go into top 4 of the Clash Bash Season 1, super sick. So congrats to me. I'm very, very excited to have that happen. I'm curious who is going to be my next opponent. But as I've stated previously on several live streams, and even I think on the Clash like Discord, Kadachis are probably some of the most overpowered weapons in young formats, because being able to present that damage, for being able to present 2 different attacks for 1 card with a floating resource at the end of it still is really good when you're trying to push a little bit of damage, because those little pokes eventually become really, really detrimental to your game plan. Because if you get down to 2 life and your opponent has 2 Kadachis, there's not much you can do in that regard besides just hope that you can hit them with something much more terrifying on your turn. So let me know what you guys think about this match down in the comments below. And while you're down there, make sure to go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And if you wanted to support the channel in a more financial sense, you can always go ahead and join our channel members here on our YouTube channel. We do have several tiers for you to join depending on what you wish to join at, and each one gets its own different kinds of perks, but everybody gets member-only videos. You get emotes and loyalty badges for when I'm live, so you can always go ahead and use those, and it's just a great way to help out, but it is not necessary, although I do appreciate it. A subscribe is also totally fantastic. We're moving up to 2,000 subscribers, and I'm very, very happy to see what the future holds for us in this wonderful, wonderful world that we call the YouTube content creator space. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope to have my top 4 video set and done after I'm done fighting my opponent. And if you want to see more of that, again, you can just subscribe to the channel and you'll see when that is. And hopefully it's very, very soon. So thank you guys so much for watching. Continue to have fun in the flesh and blood. And I will see you all very soon. Nerd out.